this starts deer camp for me. I've got 4 nights, 5 days. I'll be at deer camp with my dad and my brothers. This morning I'm kind of hunting on my way to deer camp, and going to a spot this morning that's I really thought was going to be my best area going into the season. And as the season kind of got underway, there's a little more pressure in there than there had been, I think, last year. And I'm not sure how much that has changed what's going on, but I'm going in this morning to find out. I mean, there was still, scrapes and rubs in there. Just hate that there's some pressure in this little specific area that I don't think there have been in the past. So anyway, I'm going to jump in there this morning. Got a perfect wind to be downwind of a little doe bedding area, and we'll see what happens. Well, I don't think you can tell the story of the season without telling crap stories like this. Today is the first day of deer camp. I get just a little vacation from the life at home and all that to get out and hunt for a few days straight. Really all I have this week is like 5 straight hunts. Or 4 maybe. Well, I just wasted one of them because I came into my tree stand, got all the way in here, 1.5 miles, put an arrow on, looked at the end of the arrow, and it's a frickin' field tip. And every one of my arrows had field tips on them from shooting targets yesterday. Moral of the story, don't be stupid. Can't believe I did that. So, hiking back to the truck. I got 1.5 miles to think about what I want to do. I'm hiking back in now. I left the saddle at the truck. I'm going ground attack with rattling horns and a grunt tube. And man, I got a picture of a giant. Checked the camera on the way back out just because I kind of needed some motivation to come back in after I hiked out. And man, he's huge. So almost there. Just gonna try to find a couple spots for the next couple hours where I can nestle in on the ground, rattle, call, and see what happens. So we'll see. It'd be crazy if it worked because this morning has been pretty much crap. All right, I think we can officially call this morning a bust. Forgetting my broadheads was pretty stupid. I got back in there, kind of in that same area, started seeing deer. I didn't get them on film because they were a ways off, but definitely deer in there. And that big one is, who knows where all he's at, but he's 3 o'clock in the afternoon right there, and makes you feel like he's probably bedded close. Definitely gives you an idea like you're in the right spot there. So I'm really just wanting to get back in there here in a couple of days, maybe even for an evening sit with those pictures coming at 3. So get in there for an evening sit and see if he steps out then, and maybe start to at least pin down some deer movement there.
Camo, you're gonna have to hold it though.
So he came in, and at like 10 yards, he turned just a little this way, and
It don't get no better than that.
it doesn't. I had to give him a little
Shot.
meat to get him to stop, and then I just.
I didn't check my phone.
Okay.
Is it unclipped? Yeah. Okay, so that's how you'll, whenever you're up in the tree, that's how you'll have it. Gotcha. And then, all right, it's evening of November 4th, and the whole crew is joining me in my home area this afternoon. Got pictures of 2 really big ones in here earlier this week, so pretty much gave everybody areas to go to. I'm going to a little draw between a couple of cutovers, and we're gonna see what happens. We did meet a guy at where we parked. Kind of felt bad that 4 of us just descended on him, but that's public land, so 60,000 acres. There's more to go to. Can't make much more of this trek without my phone. I got no extra draw we're in. It's a shorter hike for me, but I don't think that means it wasn't strenuous, because that was a pretty difficult one. We didn't really have any trails. Came up one big drainage and then started working up a draw, and then another chute off that draw. But we've made it to where I want to be. There's a picture 3 days ago of a really, really big one over here. We're within maybe 100 yards of where that picture was taken. We're gonna pop up out of this draw. We're gonna climb that tree, a little white oak tree, and get set up. Hopefully after we get set up, we got about 2 hours and 45 minutes before dark, so see what happens. All right, we finally got set up. It took another 20 minutes than it was supposed to, really, but part of that was because I got about 4 sticks high, and I looked over and saw about 120 yards out in this cutover field a tree just shaking violently. So I paused for a second, kind of whispered down to Cameron, and then we could hear him raking this tree. I pulled the bow up and we grunted, but he never showed, so we went ahead and continued setting up, which was a little bit of a fiasco. But we're up and we're settled. Got about 2 hours and 20 minutes till dark. All right, real quick, we never wrapped that hunt up. We didn't see any deer, which was kind of puzzling to me. It was a little disappointing. The reason we didn't wrap it up is really just because it was such a freaking hike back. You don't, I measure hikes in miles, and that one wasn't even a mile. It was like 0.86. I was like, yeah, that's not that bad. And man, there was just no trails, and then the last hill at the end of the night was super steep, and by the time we got back, we were just beat.